Hi, it's Greg Burdine, pastor of Faith Baptist Church in Adrian, Michigan, with a Bible verse for you to consider today, Wednesday of Holy Week, of the week of the Passion, of the week that Jesus was going to die on a cross, and we're looking at what happened on that Wednesday. And I know some of the timing is a guesswork. In fact, there are some people that think that Jesus, rather than dying on Friday, died on Wednesday to allow there to be 3 days and 3 nights in the tomb. Regardless, I'm going to stick with the traditional days and see what happened possibly on that Wednesday before he would have died, giving it that Good Friday when he died. Again, we're not for sure. We know that he rose again on a Sunday, and we know that he came into Jerusalem for the first time on a Sunday, the Sunday before Palm Sunday and Easter. Those 2 days we know, but some of the other days we're kind of seeing how all 4 of the Gospels play it out. But typically, Wednesday is actually called Silent Wednesday. There's not a whole lot as said about that, and that's why some people believe that maybe that was the day that he did pass away. But regardless, I'm going to go with the silent. But there is something that probably happened on that day, and that he was betrayed. Judas went to the rulers, one of the disciples, Judas Iscariot, and offered to turn him in. And the verse that I chose for today is in Matthew chapter 26, and it's in verse 15. He went to the leaders, and it says, he said to them, "What will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you." And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. Greed. There's a lot of motives that Judas may have had. There's a lot of guesswork about, why did he do that? But of all the things, the one thing we know that played at least a part of it is greed. His first question, what will you give me? Paul later on says that it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. There's nothing wrong with money. Money isn't the root of all evil. It's the love of money. Money reveals a lot about us. It reveals our heart. Jesus even says, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And that's why a lot of times you hear it, and sometimes churches and church leaders and pastors abuse that, but we talk about giving, we talk about tithing, we talk about giving to God's work or whatever, and it's not that God needs our money, but it's that our money reveals where our heart really is. And when we use our money for the right purposes, it shows where our heart is. But when we become like Judas and we want to get, what will you give me? I'll turn him in if you give me a certain amount of money. And they made a covenant. They made a promise, a contract. And actually, the covenant is even more than a contract. They covenanted to give him 30 pieces of silver. And when we look at that back in the Old Testament, that's a prophecy that was said, but 30 pieces of silver is what you would purchase a slave for. He turned Jesus in for a paltry sum of the amount to obtain a slave. And that's what Jesus said he came here to do. He came to be a servant of all. And he was actually sold for the price of a servant, the price of a slave. And so today, whatever's going on in your life, I hope that you'll realize that one of Jesus's closest friends betrayed him. And let's at least be a better friend than that. And let us be a faithful friend, a friend that stands up for Jesus. And instead of turning him in, let us broadcast who he is. Invite somebody to go with you for Easter service. Tell somebody about your relationship with Jesus and what he has done. I hope you have a great day. I'm going to bring another Bible verse. We're going to talk about what happened on that Thursday of Holy Week. So have a good day. And if you have a prayer request, you can leave it down there. We're going to have our prayer meeting tonight in church, and we'll remember them in our prayers.